Hey, so welcome to ViZDoom. I'm Hugh Perkins. So we are training a computer to play Doom, and specifically the defend the center scenario. In the last video, we watched the second run of training for this scenario, and we made a couple of proposals. One is to change the episode timeout, and one is to change the reward normalization. So in this video, we're going to implement those changes in the code. So yeah, let's get started. I think the first thing we should do is remove this timeout. We'll add the timeout into the scenario. So here we're going to put, instead of 200, we're going to put scenario episode timeout. And then we're going to set this in our scenarios file. So here for basic, we're going to do episode timeout is 200. And then here for defend the center, episode timeout is, I wonder what the default is. Is it not? Oh, you know what we can do, just to be, we can just say if scenario episode timeout is not none, then we set it. All right, and so we're just going to, like, maybe it defaults to none anyway, but rather than hacking around figuring it out, we're just going to put none here, and it's just going to explicitly check for none. So when the episode timeout is none, there's no timeout, it doesn't call this. When it's not none, it says it. So basically on the basic scenario, what we're calling basic, times it up to 200, and now it's no longer timing out. Now, the second thing we should do, but we're not going to do it yet, because it's going to take some effort. The second thing we should do is tell the agent about the ammunition that it has. But we're not going to do that yet. We're just going to restart the run without the timeout and see what happens. I think I'd also like to add, so if we go back to ViZDoom 011, at the end of the episode, we are here, we are getting the episode reward, right? And before we were dividing it by 100, right, but now what we're going to do is subtract 2 from it. But let's put this into the scenarios, right? So we're going to do our reward baseline. So we're going to do two things with this reward. We're going to do a scaling, which is this. So when we were doing the basic, we were scaling, we were dividing it by 100, right? Now there's no scaling. So we're going to multiply this by scenario. So we should split this over multiple lines. I guess we can just, alright, reward scaling equals scenario reward scaling. And so we're going to multiply the reward by the reward scaling. Instead of doing this divided by 100, we're going to have a reward scaling of, it's like 0.01, which, like, multiplied by 0.01 is the same as divided by 100, right? In this one, we're going to have a reward scaling of 1.0, so we don't scale the reward. All right, so that takes care of the basic, and then we want to subtract this. I guess we can call it baseline, reward baseline. I'm going to call it baseline. So the baseline in the basic is 0. We're not subtracting anything. Let's put this into the code so you can see how I'm using this. So reward baseline equal scenario reward baseline, and here we're going to subtract the reward baseline. So I'm scaling it first and then subtracting the baseline. The order, it will work either way, but the numbers that we put into the scenario will be different. But at the moment, the basic doesn't have baseline and the defend the center doesn't have scaling, so actually it doesn't matter. But in the future, if we had something which had both, then the order would matter. So reward baseline, we're going to put 2.0. Why are we putting 2.0? Because it looks like the average reward is about 2.0, and I think when we remove the timeout, it's going to go even higher. But at least let's subtract the 2.0 from it. I guess we can kill that. All right, so Okay, so we've added in two more constants into each scenario, the reward scaling and the reward baseline. The reward scaling for basic is because the reward coming out of the game was like several hundred. It was between like minus 200 and plus 60 or something like that. For the Defend of the Center, the reward is in the range, similar to the range 0 to 1, so we don't scale the reward, but we are subtracting this reward baseline from the reward. By the way, mathematically it's totally fine to subtract this baseline. There are papers proving that's totally fine. Like the concept of a baseline is very standard. Like if you look at David Silver's lectures, so David Silver is a guy who may or might not still be at DeepMind, but he used to be DeepMind. He's a professor at University College London, and he has a bunch of lectures on reinforcement learning. He talks about baseline, like in theory. In theoretical terms. Let's try running on my Mac. Right, turn off the entropy regularization, and let's set it to be visible. And so we're going to run that and see how it looks. You know what? I want to know the health and the ammo. So let's show both the health and the ammo. Alright, so it's okay with ammo 1 and ammo 2. And then let's just print all of the variables if any of them changes, because that's less code. Not sure. Alright, there we go. Alright, so the order is health, ammo 1, ammo 2. Oh, so we really don't want the ammo 1. So this first one is the health, and so let's just get rid of the ammo 1. So I don't know what ammo 1 is, but that's not what we're using, clearly. Alright, so the first one is the health, and the second one is the ammunition. So we start off with about, yeah, alright. So basically now the episode only ends when we actually die, which takes a while, it seems. So that's cool. So I think we should run this. You know, if it's visible, I also want to know when we get a reward. Or at least let's get the episode reward. Print reward, episode reward, game.getTotal reward. What should we do with the scaling in? No, let's just do this. Alright, so now we'll see the reward for each episode at the end of the episode. It'd be nice to kind of have the reward here, I guess, but so here the episode reward was 0, presumably because we didn't shoot any monsters. We just shot 2 monsters, so the reward should be 2. Oh, yeah, there we go, 2. Alright, cool. Alright, so I think that looks good. I can make that bigger if you want. So yeah, let's push this up to the instance and then run that. Alright, so we finished implementing the reward normalization change and the episode timeout change, and we're ready to start a new run of training. So we'll do that in the next video, so I hope to see you there.